you everyone. I'm sorry I'm going to talk in English if that's okay with everyone. Yes, thank you. The impact will be much more in English than Hindi, trust me. But thank you so much for calling me to your wonderful campus. It is a joy to be here, and you are very lucky to be in such an environment where you can actually reach your potential in terms of working. And thank you to all the teachers for coming here. Your service is very, very important and very valued. And thanks for being at the front lines of our fight to fix education in the country. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we can think fresh about education. We have been working for the last 40, 50 years in India to try and fix the education system. We all know that there are a lot of problems with the system, and I want to try and convince you that perhaps rather than trying to catch up with a better system from Finland or England or America or the IB or the IGCSE, let us create our own India system, an India model of education that works for our country and that is unique to our country. Right? So the first thing I would like you all to do is let's make this interactive. I don't want to be the one giving you all a lecture for so long. Can you all look at the person next to you? Introduce yourself to that person. They are going to be your partner for the next 1.5 hours. Right? And keep your notebook and pen ready with you. All have pens and notebooks, I think. Yeah? So just take a minute, introduce yourself. If you all know each other, that's fine. You can still say hi. So we're all very deeply ingrained in our Indian education system. You all have been to school, to college, PhD programs, master's programs. We know there are a lot of problems in the sector. I know there are a lot of problems. You all have a lot of experience. Can you all list down on your piece of paper, can you all list down what are some of the major problems that you see in the education sector? Can you write it down for me? And spend some time sharing your list with your partner and see are there any similarities or differences between your list and their list. I'll give you all 5 minutes. Good one.
By now I have got 4 points, ma'am. This is on every parents, mostly in the rural areas, they're on every parents. Technology lag is one of the things that we actually experience there. Thirdly, it is either English language or state language as the medium of instruction in place of the language of the children. And fourthly, occupational need, where the parents also need, the children also need to earn something for their livelihood. Thank you.
हम दोनों दो अलग अलग जैसे आए हैं. मैं रूरल एरिया की हूँ, वो अर्बन एरिया की है. तो हम लोगों का कुछ सिमिलरिटीज भी है, कुछ डिफरेंसेस भी है. वो बोलेंगी अब उसके बाद या हम हमारे स्कूल में क्या होता है, जैसे रूरल एरिया के हैं तो बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स प्रेजेंट रहते हैं. 2-3 स्टूडेंट्स नहीं रहते, जो पोर फैमिली के हैं वो बाहर जाते हैं काम करने के लिए. तो मैडम की है अर्बन एरिया की, उनका स्टूडेंट्स बहुत सारे ड्रॉप आउट होते हैं क्योंकि स्लम एरिया के हैं. और हमारा शॉर्टेज ऑफ टीचर्स है, दोनों में सिमिलरिटीज है. और एक है हमारा स्कूल में पेरेंट्स नहीं आते हैं, वो एजुकेटेड नहीं है, इसीलिए वो कभी भी नहीं आते हैं. जब भी हम मीटिंग्स करते हैं वो नहीं आते हैं, वो सो जाते हैं घर में. तो इनके स्कूल में आते हैं. अगर हम लोग बोलते हैं कि आप आओ अपने बच्चे के बारे में सोचो ना, हम तो छोड़ दिए हैं आपके ऊपर, हम क्यों आए, बोल के सो जाते हैं. लेकिन टाउन में पेरेंट्स आते हैं और तो उनका कुछ समझते हैं, लेकिन स्लम एरिया के पेरेंट्स नहीं आते हैं. और ऐसे पढ़ाई में टाउन्स में थोड़ा अच्छे हैं, और हमारी रूरल एरिया में वो लोग जो अच्छे हैं और बहुत सारे सब खेल कूद में ध्यान रखते हैं. और लेकिन हमारी स्कूल में हम अगर बच्चे लोगों को नहीं भी कहें, वो जाकर पानी डालेंगे और स्पोर्ट्स में टेंट खुद बनाते हैं, और अगर स्नेक्स आए तो खुद पकड़ लेते हैं, फिर खुशी से पकड़ लेते हैं। ये सब काम करते हैं जो कि अर्बन एरिया में नहीं है। उन लोगों के अगर बच्चे काम करें तो पेरेंट्स आके बोलते हैं हमारे बच्चे क्यों काम करें। ये हमारी डिफरेंसेस है।
Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is my personal opinion, so nothing to connect with NCERT. I personally feel that there is no issue with education. Not at all. There is no issue. It is only individual perception and society pressure. First of all, why I should go to that school which doesn't give me anything? What is the need? Why, when the child is 2 years able to walk, we put them into play school? We all know nothing is happening in this school. Then why you are going to that school? Okay? So there is no problem with the system. It is problem with us. We go to a hotel for eating. If you know it is a very bad restaurant, why do you want to go there? Learning can take place anywhere. You can self-learn. You can have your own experience. You can have your own entrepreneur experience. So that is my personal vision.
Thank you. Very, very important. Thank you, everyone.
I would like to add something.
Okay, we move on. So here are some problems that I thought of, also from my context. Some are similar to yours, some are a little bit different. One is students feel a need to go to expensive tuition classes. If you see in the slums of Mumbai, every three houses, there's a tuition center there. Students are addicted to phones and video games. Do you all see this as a problem in your systems? There is rampant cheating in the board exams. Students only want government jobs or doctor engineer degrees. Teacher training programs are boring and don't work at the present. A large percentage of students drop out of school. I think we have mentioned this before. Poor children don't get high quality education. Do you all agree with these problems? Do you all face them as well?
Yes.
So I'm going to challenge you and say that can we think of these problems from a different lens? Let us rethink these problems. Why are tuition classes so popular? Can we fix our schools to make tuitions redundant? Why are tuitions even required? Because the school system is failing. How are video games so addictive? Rather than dismissing them, can we learn from them? Can we say, okay, what have they got right? What is their secret to make them addictive? Can we use that knowledge to make our schools addictive, our learning addictive, with the same principles? Why is cheating so rampant? Can we redesign assessments so that cheating becomes impossible? You cannot cheat on an exam that is so beautifully designed. Why do so many students want government jobs? Can we de-risk risk-taking? Can we make it easier for our students to take risks, try different things? Why are teacher training programs so ineffective? Can we understand what teachers really need to succeed, as opposed to lecturing? What makes a student drop out of school? Can we make schools so captivating that they are drawn? Rather than pulling students in, get them to want to be in school all the time. Why are only rich students getting good education? Can we change our mindsets about the poor? This is your point, sir. Why do we believe that rich kids at the young ages...
I disagree with this also. Rich students getting good education.
Maybe not true, exactly. This is a perception that people have, right? Now what is good education? That is the next question. So the point is to rethink these problems and see why they are occurring and are they really even a problem? Can we learn from them? So a little bit about who we are, who my institute is. We have a Shikha Academy. So we are a very unique position where we have a school, an institute and an AI company all working together so that we can work off each other. So the school is like so mentioned, it's a school for disadvantaged children, but it follows a very, very high quality Cambridge curriculum. The institute is looking at everything from first principles and redesigning the curricula, the pedagogy, the assessments, the teacher training, school design. Everything we try at the institute, we test out in the school. So we know that it works. We do multiple drafts. We use design thinking processes. And the AI lab, which is new, it's creating products for schools in the classroom, for teachers and for students that make the high quality education scalable. That is our goal here. All right. If we were to embark on this journey of redesigning the education system, the first thing we have to start with is defining for us what is the goal of education. Why is a student going to school? They are in school from age 6 in grade 1 till age 18 in grade 12. Why are they in school for so many years? What are they doing? What is the goal? So again, spend some time thinking for yourself your personal understanding of what the goal of education should be. Once you write it down, again share with your partner and discuss. It's easy to pick holes in the education system.
मैं एक छोटा सा अनाउंसमेंट कर रहा हूँ कि ये सेशन के बाद हमारी जो रेगुलर फैकल्टी के साथ हमने एक डिस्कशन अलग से रखा हुआ है, जहाँ हम लोग मैडम से अलग से जो भी हमें बातचीत करनी है डिटेल में वो हम कर पाएंगे 2G में, जस्ट इस सेशन के बाद 2G में रेगुलर फैकल्टी के साथ.
Have you all discussed with your partner? बात करो. You're allowed to talk. One of the objectives.
May not be all, but
One of the objectives is make them employable. It's not enough. Not enough. Right. Thank you. I'm going to share with you what I believe the goal of education is. At Shikha, at my institute, students come to school to prepare themselves for success in the real world. It's broad enough that it covers values, it covers employability, it covers being a good citizen, and therefore we've broken it up. For the individual, education is the building of purpose and motivation, leading to balance and happiness. For the community, education is the building of problem-solving expertise, leading to social and economic prosperity. And for the nation, education is the building of citizen leadership, leading to national and human progress. This is what I believe. Right?
can we say for the holistic development of the children?
Absolutely. In order to get happiness. You want children in the country to be happy in the future. They have to learn how to be happy. Right? So if this is the goal, if the goal is to prepare themselves for success in the real world, what are the implications? What does that mean for the curriculum, pedagogy and assessment? If the goal is that. We always start, when we talk about first principles thinking, we start at the goal and then we work backwards. And we say that the curriculum, what is worth learning? What knowledge, attitudes and skills should a graduating student in the 21st century possess? How should it be learned? What is the best way for the student to develop these knowledges, practice these skills, demonstrate these attitudes? That is your pedagogy. What is worth measuring? What should be assessed? What is our evidence that the student has gained the knowledge, skills and attitudes that we wanted? That is your assessment. This is your instructional, your fundamental core of education is curriculum, pedagogy, assessment. And they have to work together. Only then will the goal be achieved. So you have to design curricula, design pedagogy and design assessment for that goal. I was very happy to know that no one said the goal was to pass the board exam. No one said that. We all know this and still we are stuck. So if your goal is what you said, holistic development, employability, values, morals, all-rounded development, How is the board exam the right assessment of that? Look at your goal, look at your assessment. You're assessing wrong things. You're not assessing what your goal is. So now if this is my goal, you have written down your goals, right? I want you all to think, given your goal, what should be the curriculum, what should be the pedagogy, what should be the assessment. I'll give a little bit more time for this, it's a bit longer, but look at your goal first. Start with that. And then think, if this is my goal, how should my curriculum be? What is worth learning? How is it worth teaching? And what is worth measuring for my particular goal? Is the question clear to everyone? Curriculum, pedagogy, assessment. Given your particular goal. Start? I'll give you all 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to ask two people to share.
Namaste, ma'am. I'm Kadambini. I think school is like a temple, and all children are the future of next generation. And we know that teachers are the, we worship them as God. So my goal is to make our school based in all aspects like curricular and co-curricular ways, to teach them moral values of life. And we learn here the vocational education. I decided here, after that I reached the school, I implemented what I here learned, and holistic development among the all children. And one thing I want to say, in last some years our school have no boundaries. And yes,
know what you have written.
yes, a little bit. So all infrastructure, the school is a little bit old. Then we all the staffs may collaborate, and we contribute our salaries, and a meeting of all the parents. They also joined with us, and we collected 1.5 lakhs of money, and we deposit them in the more school Yojana in Odisha. Then that triplet, and within 2 months, then we got 4.5 lakhs. Then we done the all infrastructure work very good. Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. One more person and then we can move on.
My problem was is in our Odisha remedial program was introduced. The name was Utkarsa Utthana and Ujjwal. Yes. So for that I written that in the curriculum side I written that syllabus would be minimized with giving more emphasis to the remedial program. Yes. So that if it will continue for 2 to 3 years, then somehow it can be balanced out. Fix the education program. So in pedagogy session, I means written that knowledge should be connected with the day-to-day activity with the real-life experience, so that children can connect with the
Real life pedagogy.
yes. So in assessment side, it should be project-based or activity-based, so that children should enjoy, and we can assess that as per their experience or as per our observation, we can assess them. So
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for the great points. Thank you. I'm going to move on a little bit in the interest of time. Has this been helpful for you all? To think of it from a first principles perspective. What you all have just done is called first principles thinking. You started fresh. You've said what should be the goal of education, and therefore what should be the curriculum, pedagogy, assessment. We're not basing on what we already know. We're basing thinking fresh. Right? So that's what sort of I've done as well. This is what I came up with. If the goal for students is to be prepared for success in the real world, that means in the curriculum we have to learn problem solving. Because when you are successful, you are a problem solver. Therefore, you gain success. We have at Shikha 6 C skills. We call them 6 C skills. These are 21st century skills. Cognitive, critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, character. So we believe that content, knowledge, content, we don't know in the next 10 years, whatever we teach may become irrelevant. For example, right now we are teaching children how to code because coding is the future. In 5 years' time, you will not need to code anymore. AI will take over coding, but we are still stuck on coding. So we are saying that the content should be de-emphasized. The problem-solving process should be emphasized. And the skills that are required for problem-solving is what we want to focus on. The content is the medium, right? But what we actually want to see in the children are these skills, these 6C 21st century skills. We have character there, so that covers your values, self-management, critical thinking, collaboration, teamwork, communication. These are all skills that will never become irrelevant. Whatever content knowledge changes, you will still use these skills to solve problems in the real world. So you are future-proofing education by focusing on skills rather than content. If the curriculum is problem-solving, it follows automatically that the pedagogy has to be scenario-based and project-based. Because if your curriculum is asking you to solve problems, the pedagogy has to be to solve problems. It has to link together. So if you have a curriculum that is problem-solving based, the pedagogy has to be project-based. What are you doing in that project? You are targeting understanding, mastery, and transfer. How many of you have heard the word transfer in the context of education before? Transfer. Transfer means taking learnings from one domain and using it in another domain. This is actually what education is. This is the holy grail of education. This is actually what education should be about. Because whatever the child is learning in the classroom, he or she has to be able to use it in the real world. So transfer has to happen. If you stop just at learning and not transfer, there is no point of the learning. We all know this. This is why we focus on application based. Why do we focus on that? Because we want to use learnings in the classroom to solve problems in the real world. Experiential learning, all of that stuff is to help with transfer of learning. The third is assessment. If your curriculum is problem solving, if your pedagogy is project based and scenario based, that implies assessment has to be portfolios and journals. It flows. It has to be a system that works together. Now this may be different for you based on your goals. This is what we do. You all have to figure out, if your goal is A, what is the curriculum that makes sense with the goal? What is the pedagogy that makes sense with the curriculum? And what is the assessment that makes sense to check evidence that the curriculum and the pedagogy and the goal have been met? So for portfolios and journals, we are trying to capture students' high quality work, as well as for competency, but also growth over time. Have they gotten better over time? That is very important. That shows evidence of learning, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly show you all three aspects. This is your educational core: curriculum, pedagogy, assessment. I'm going to quickly show you what we do at Shikha, and then I'll open up for questions after that, right? These are some aspects of how we are redesigning curricula. Across every subject, we're looking again first principles. Why are we teaching math? Why are we teaching English? Why are we teaching social studies? Why are we teaching science? And then this is the basis of our curriculum development. It has to be relevant to the students and to the times, such that it starts by discovering a problem or phenomenon. You start every unit that we create in the curriculum starts with a problem or a phenomena. We're not teaching it independent of something that happens in the real world. This gives it context. It makes the child motivated to learn it. Finding oneself in a real world situation, necessitating an AI supported mastery of tools, processes and skills. So you start with the problem, then you build a toolkit that will help you solve the problem. And you know why you're supposed to build the toolkit? Because you've been given the problem first. So you know, okay, skill ye, I need to build up my skills. Then, once you have that, you start thinking like an expert in that field. You don't learn science, you learn to think like a scientist. You don't learn math, you learn to think like a mathematician. You don't learn history, you learn to think like a historian. That process is way more important than the content. Finally, you end with a transfer. So you revisit the problem and transfer. So every unit across every subject, whether it is math or science or English or social studies, starts with a problem and ends with the students solving that problem after equipping themselves with a toolkit of abilities and skills. Is that clear? I'm going to give some examples soon so that it's more clear. This is a false dichotomy. Usually people say, oh, if you have high quality, you can't scale it. If you want to scale something, it has to be low quality. This is generally what we've seen in the education space. It's very difficult to scale high quality learning. Do you all agree with me? Have you all seen this before? But does it have to be a dichotomy? Can you do both? Can you maintain high quality by not decreasing the rigor but increasing the scaffolding? You guys know what scaffolding means? If I'm learning to swim in a pool, first time I learn to swim in a pool, what will I do? I'll have a kickboard, or I'll have floats, I'll have a support, and I'll learn to swim. Few laps, up, down. Soon I will be strong enough and good enough that I can discard those floats and discard that board that I use. So that is what scaffolding is for a student. You have supports given initially, but over time you remove those supports when the student doesn't need them anymore. So when you say that it's a very high quality curriculum, you start with a high quality, but give lots of scaffolding. And over time you start removing the scaffolding away, as opposed to starting from a low quality, because the child cannot understand. I'll give you one example of this. When I teach my kids business and entrepreneurship, because that is my love as well. When the kids had to analyze balance sheets and income statements of companies, usually what most entrepreneurial programs do is they make a case study. You'll have seen case studies happen before, where this company, this fake company, fictional company, sold toys to this in this town, and this is their revenue, they sold this much, blah, 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 blah. So then they analyze the thing. This is generally what is done. With my kids, what I said is, let's make it real world. This is a case study, it's not real world. So I got a bunch of real annual reports from different companies. HDFC Bank, Yes Bank, Tata Motors, bunch of annual reports. These are very thick, very difficult documents to read. They're 300 pages each, and they're full of business words and business jargon. Very difficult for a child to understand. I said, let's try it. Right? So, and this is grade 9, and these kids have been through 2 years of COVID. So they've not been in school for 2 years. So their language is not great, right? I said, please take these, and I'm going to scaffold your exploration of these annual reports. I said, please look for this particular word, consolidated income statement. Look for this word in that thick document. Hold the document in your hand and scan it. In the table of contents, look for this. Go to that page. I give them a graphic organizer, which is a table for them to fill out with data they have got from the annual report. The graphic organizer is scaffolding also, right? So they have to go to that page and pick out specific words, revenue, expenses, profit, PAT, tax, etc. and fill up the graphic organizer with information from the annual report. And you will not believe it, they all did it. They could all analyze an annual report with the right amount of scaffolding. Once they're good at it, I don't need to provide that geo, that graphic organizer. So it's not required. It's there initially for them to be able to grapple with something high quality and something real world. So you start with the belief that they can do it. And then you scaffold it to make sure that they can do it. Right? And then I ask them to now analyze. Look at past year's revenue, this year's revenue. Look at the industry these annual reports are in, these companies are in. Why do you think it's grown or it's gone down? What can you say about that company now? So now we are adding a layer of, again, rigor and making them think deeply about what they've just researched and what they found out. This is called high quality with scaffolding. How do you make things scalable? Still high quality, but now scalable. Technology, AI. We are in the world, we are so lucky to be born in this generation, where in our lives we have seen computers, the internet, and now AI. 3 platform technologies in one lifetime. We are so lucky. Grab it with both hands. Do not be afraid. Why are kids so good at phones, technology and AI? They have no fear. They're not scared. Karo button press karo. What will happen? Worst what will happen? So don't be scared. Use it. We are lucky. We should use the tools that are available to us. Okay. I'm going to give you one example of scaling curriculum with AI. Very simple, but very effective. So, in our English curriculum, we started with the same question that I asked you all. What is the goal of English? What is the goal of language? And we decided that the goal of language is to improve communication skills. Fundamentally, it is to improve communication skills. Yes, it's good to learn literature, it's good to, learn nouns, pronouns, grammar, but it's not that important. What is important is communication skills. Because our goal is to prepare students for the real world. Back to our goal. We constantly refer back to the goal that we have. So what we said is we'll redesign English. We picked 16 to 20 professions in the real world for whom communication skills are very important, such as a journalist, advertiser, tour guide, event planner, foreign diplomat, politician, lawyer, teacher, right? All these jobs require very strong communication skills if you want to do them well. Then we went to a real world teacher, lawyer, advertiser, and asked them, what do you do every day? How do you do your job? How do you get a project? How do you do the project? How do you end the project? What are the artifacts or the documentation that you have to create in your job and that you have to analyze in your job? What are the domain-specific vocabulary words that you use in your job different from some other job? And then we copied that into the unit. So the students are actually replicating a real-world project of an advertiser in English class. Because by the by, doing the job of an advertiser requires you to have good English. So automatically, because the situation demands it, you will get better at language. It's like imagine learning French in France versus learning French here. There's a difference, right? Where will you be faster at learning French? In France. Why? Need it. There's no option. You better know French. If you want to go to the bathroom, you want to have a meal, you want to ask for a service, you need to know French. It's a need-based pull system. Same here. If you want to be a good advertiser, you better know English. If you want to be a good diplomat, you better know English. If you want to be a good teacher or a tour guide, you better know English. So English is the byproduct. But it happens automatically because the kids are so motivated to do it. Now, how do you make this high-level curriculum scalable? We had, for our kids, as an example, a client come to this group of kids who were advertisers. And the client was Nike. They make shoes, sneakers. So the project was that Nike has come to you to ask you to make an ad campaign for a new line of kids sneakers and kids boots to tackle childhood obesity. We want to encourage kids to exercise more and by the by sell our products as well. This is a real world case study, right? Now, how do you make this scalable? Because you can't have a teacher being Nike. You can't have Nike coming directly to your classroom. So we created an AI bot, an artificial intelligence bot that is a Nike marketing manager. And the kids have to interview this bot to create the client brief on which they will create the advertisement. So now this AI bot is very scalable, right? So you can scale high quality education if you can use technology effectively. But do not decrease the rigor of high quality education. You can do it. You just be creative on how to scale it with technology. Let's move on to pedagogy. Every unit we design at Shikha follows a process. We always start with something that is motivating for the student, which is the scenario, which is the problem. Nike coming to you as a class to say, advertisers, I need help. That's extremely motivating. So you always start with motivation. Why are we learning what we are learning? Because we need to solve this real world problem. This problem can be across English, across science, across math, every subject. For example, math, right? You may say, how do you create a scenario in math? Right? What we do is, for example, that you are all a bunch of traders in 14th century Baghdad. Okay. Why? Because Baghdad at that time was the commerce capital. A lot of trade was happening in Baghdad. It used to be the center of trade, right, in 14th century. And then we say that you are traders and you realize every single shipment that comes and goes, you have to do the same math calculation again. You just have to change the numbers depending on how much. How many tons of material, what is the cost, what is the foreign exchange, what is the tax. You're doing the same calculation again, whole day you're spending doing that. How can you use math to make your life easier? Then we tell the kids there's something called algebra. Algebra is what? Repeated functions. So we teach the kids algebra in the context of the Baghdadi trader. And then we say, now that you know algebra, can you help your Baghdadi trader friend to make his life easier? And the kids create functions to help them make their lives easier. So you can do this, right? Every subject, you can create a scenario that gives you understanding of how that subject is useful in the real world. And actually, that's actually how algebra was invented in the first place. It's the traders in Baghdad who created algebra. That's why it's called algebra. Then, so you start with motivation, move on to ability, the toolkit that you create. Solve back that problem with transfer. जो problem था पहले scenario में, you use your toolkit to solve that problem. And you end with a reflection. What did I do well? How could I have done better? How can I improve my own learning? Metacognition, जो बोलता है. So this is the process that every unit is used to create. It's extremely successful. Now, how do you assess it? Assessment, I was telling them as well, is I spoke to a professor of mine from the US one day, and I was asking him that if you had $1 million to spend to fix the education system, how would you split the money? Where would you put the money? He said, I will spend $1 million on fixing assessment. This is the ship that drives everything. Assessment is what drives, you guys know this, right? Every school is designed for success, and success is judged by the board exams. So whatever cool, innovative things you try, if it doesn't show a result in the board exam, it will get dropped. But the problem is, the board exam doesn't measure anything of value. So the school is a very well-oiled machine that is working towards the wrong goal. Can we fix the goal? Look at your own notes. You all have perfect goals. That should be the goal, right?
My goal is also somewhat similar to your goals.
Yes, good.
Written.
Amazing. So, rather than doing formative, summative assessments, we do assessments based on what is the goal of that assessment. What are we trying to see in the student? Have they understood something? Have they mastered something? And have they been able to transfer it? On these three categories is how we design our assessment system. Check for understanding, multimodal continuous assessments to provide feedback to the teacher and the student. This is only for providing feedback, so the teacher knows when something is not working, I have to pivot. I have to change my strategies in some way. Mastery. Mastery is very interesting. It's a repeatable, but very rigorous exam to check for stuff that has to be mastered by a child. What is worth mastering, guys? 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. The child should know it. Rigorously, the child should have perfect addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, understanding. Is it important to master which year Jahangir was born? Not worth mastering. So we have to decide what is worth mastering, what is not worth mastering. When something is worth mastering, it has to be mastered, which means every time they do that exam, they have to get 100%. Not 98, not 95, not even 70, 100%. That is called mastery. 3 plus 5 should always be 8. If it is not 8, the child has not mastered it, go back and master it. Right? So there's a difference between what you need to understand and what you need to master. And the last is transfer. Evidence of high quality work and reflection through portfolios and journals. How do we do this at scale in a class? What we do is, from grade 3 onwards, every child in our school has a personal public website. It's free. Google Sites has a free website. You can just start your own website. The child decorates it the way they want to. Right? And then we tell the child, every single month, in every subject, you will take a photo of and post one example of high quality work you have done in that subject, in that month. And you will write about it. What was this? How did I do this? Did I use a team? Did I do it individually? What was the process I followed to do this? Is this draft 1, draft 2, draft 3? What was that process? What have I learned about myself? What can I do better next time? They're writing about the high quality work. Because it is public, they will make sure they do their best work. Automatically, you don't need to motivate them. This is public. Anyone can see it. I can see it, you can see it, parents can see it, friends can see it. They are motivated to only show their best quality work. This solves the problem of that chalta hai. You know how in India we have last 10% we don't finish. Tell me that's okay, it's fine. This allows you not to do that. This will say that, hello, you're showing this to the world, it's public. Right? So from grade 3 to grade 10, 12, they have all of this data of high quality work they've done. And you can see growth. You can see learnings. You can see self-reflection. You can see skills. Right? Now, how do you scale this? And how do you use this to create a board exam? Because you need a board exam, right? So, what we've developed is an AI tool that looks at all of these portfolios against a list of skills that we have identified worth assessing. See, what is worth assessing? These skills are worth assessing. So we use this as a metric to judge the child's portfolio. At the end of it, this AI tool spits out a transcript of the child. And the transcript shows the top 10 to 12 skills that are demonstrated in the child's portfolio from the list of skills that we've given. Each skill has a little QR code. So if you scan the QR code, you can see evidence of that skill in the child's portfolio through that one post. And then this becomes a transcript that is much more valuable than a board exam. Because with evidence, you're seeing the child's skill development. Now imagine the child goes to a job kind of, company for a kind of interview, right? The HR person has a transcript of this child and knows the top 10, 12 skills. She also has the JD, which is the job description. So she can match the skills to the JD. Also what she can do is, she can look at the QR code, find the evidence of that skill, and ask the student about it in the interview. Oh, I saw in your transcript that you had done this collaborative project in history. Can you explain to me what you did? The interview becomes so much better than asking from a board exam list. Again, it's scalable because the AI is a program. It doesn't require high quality examiners and teachers to spend hours and hours and hours looking through a child's portfolio. Right? So as a demo, I'm putting in the child's name, his grade, and some description of what that project was for what he put in the portfolio. So our task was the Indus Valley civilization. We did it collaboratively, we got feedback. One of our team members was not working properly, so I spoke to him and motivated him. And you're putting the PDF of the final artifact of what you created in that particular project. on the 6 C's. It's telling you what sub-skills have been seen in that particular post. It took 5 seconds, not even. How much time did it take? Right? So you can see, he's done critical thinking, presentation and feedback was very high. And you can scroll in and see. It explains to you what was seen in that particular project. The team conducted research, created resources, etc. Collaboration, leadership and feedback were very high. It saw very high evidence of that in the portfolio. Yeah, so I'll stop here, but you'll get the sense of what I'm saying. Now the most important, teacher capacity building. How can we rethink teacher capacity building? You all have attended many training sessions, I'm sure. Can you all reflect back and think, in your training sessions, what sessions did you enjoy the most and were useful and why? And what sessions were quite a waste of time and why? So please write down in your books again and share with your partner.
एक बार क्वेश्चन फिर से रिपीट कर दीजिए ये लिखा हुआ हाँ क्वेश्चन देख लीजिए बोर्ड पर
Across your teacher training sessions in the past, what worked for you and what didn't work for you and why?
That is why we have
Here's
to go.
motivation. Compulsory.
They are not allowed
Yes.
to attend.
Absolutely.
Director Bolan and NCERT director.
Hello, ma'am. Actually, what I feel personally as being a teacher, as a training, as a teacher, when I am as a trainee attending some training program, when the content knowledge is or pedagogical supportive orientation program is going on, I personally don't enjoy that one because I think that I can learn from the Google, that I can learn from anything. But the motivation I get when I feel that the appreciation when the trainer gives something, but I feel that yes, I am doing and what I can do also by pushing my limitation, that I feel good. And waste of time that I, along with I told, content knowledge, actually being a teacher, I really don't feel to be because I know where I can and what I just wanted to be improve myself.
Excellent. Thank you. Very good. All right. So how can we redesign teacher training? Again, go back to the goal. Go back to the goal, go back to the curriculum, pedagogy, assessment. That should define how you teach. That is what is worth teaching or training teachers for, right? Number one, and I think you already do this very well at this institute. Training should demonstrate the same pedagogy and assessment style that teachers need to use in the classroom. If I'm lecturing to you and telling you, guys, don't lecture, but I'm lecturing to you, that's not useful. If you are going to do project-based learning, teachers have to do projects. If you are teaching experiential learning, teachers have to do experiential learning. You have to match the teacher training style with the style you want them to teach in the classroom. Number one. And what I saw in the labs that you all have at the institute is exactly this. You are making teachers do the actual vocational training that you expect them to teach in the classroom, which is amazing. Training should be long-term, hands-on, with coached practice. A one-time session is very difficult to transfer into the classroom. It has to be continuous because you need to develop classroom habits. Habit formation takes time. It's not fast. You wake up in the morning, brush your teeth. Right? That's a habit. How many years have you been doing it? Every day for the last how many years? It's become a habit. You need to make habits in teachers. Everyone, all teachers sort of know what is right in terms of teaching. They just can't do it because they are stuck with old habits and old mindsets. So continuous coaching is very, very important. Of course, it's very difficult to do in the real world. We will get to that. Right? But that is the best way to get teachers to get better. Training should include evidence of new pedagogy through class videos and case studies instead of a lecture. If I tell you I do all of this at Shikha, you'll be like, yeah, great, it won't work in my school. Right? But if I show you evidence of the AI and you see how it worked, show classroom videos, take classroom videos and show them this is how an actual teacher in an actual classroom in a village managed this. Why can't you do it? So be comfortable with taking recordings in your class. Anytime that you teachers feel like I'm doing something very, very cool, very interesting, take a video, post it, let people see it. They'll change mindsets once they see evidence. Teachers should be rewarded for open-mindedness and innovation. We do not do this. We reward teachers for board exam results. Anytime a teacher takes a risk, we're like, no, this is not right. Stick to what you're supposed to be doing. Finish the syllabus. Finish the syllabus. Why? Reward open-mindedness and risk-taking. Reward innovations. Teachers need opportunities for self-reflection through activities and journaling. You're actually journaling right now. What you're doing right now on pieces of paper is self-reflection and journaling. Allow for that to happen. Because we have the answers in our own brains. We know. You all have way more experience than the trainer does. Teachers do. Teachers should learn collaboratively in groups. Because it's also fun. It's fun to be collaborative. You all are talking to each other. Right? Teachers should become best friends with technology. Become friends. Don't be enemies. Don't be scared. Embrace it. So this is how we do teacher training at Shikha. We have a diploma program that we started for all teachers who teach in school. They have to teach in school full time. There's coaching. I'll explain the coaching part a little bit later. And there's 20 self-paced online courses which they have to complete over 2 years. If they complete this, they get a diploma. Right? And we have treated these courses to be self-paced and online. So from our end, there's no trainer. No requirement for a trainer, even. They just do it on their own pace. Because to bring teachers together at one time, what happens to the students? They suffer, right? Because there's no teachers now left. They're all called for training. Assessments through the same way we assess students, we assess teachers. Portfolios, journals, demos, real classes, real world experience. Checklists of high quality teaching. This is very, very important. You guys have in the healthcare space, doctors, pilots, professionals that require a lot of cognitive load. There's a lot of load on their head to think through things. They use checklists. A lot. Have you ever seen this? Why can't we do that? Teachers should use checklists. We've made checklists of what a good quality, high quality class looks like. So when a teacher sees that, they can check themselves. I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. So much better, right? You're scaffolding for the teacher. Once they know this, once they have developed the habit, throw away the checklist. Not required. Until you develop the habit, keep a checklist with you. Learn from different fields that have solved these problems. Studio classroom. For developing classroom video training material. We have a studio classroom. Anytime we do something new and innovative, it's shot on video and kept as training material for later. And there's an AI teacher coach. Let's see. Now, why does coaching not work? General coaching not work. It's not scalable. You need to have really, really, really high quality coaches at scale. Okay? First thing is the teachers don't like to be coached by a peer. They're like, I know better than you. Who are you to tell me? Right? That's reality. Second thing is that if a coach is very good and she's used as a coach, her classroom doesn't get her benefit. So the students that she was teaching earlier don't get the benefit of such a good teacher. It's not good for the students. Right? So why don't we create an AI coach? It solves all these problems. It's scalable. There's no pride or ego with an AI. It's AI. It's not a person. Right? And the third is the teacher who's really good stays in the classroom where she belongs for the kids that will benefit from her. So I'm going to give you an example of this AI question. This is the first time we're doing this demo for any audience. So bear with us. Hopefully it will work well. So you put in your teacher name, the grade and the subject and start recording your class. What it does is it creates a transcript of your recording, and on this basis, this is a checklist of high quality teaching. On the checklist, it analyzes your class and gives you specific data based feedback. So after it's recorded, it's processing the audio. This is the metric on which it will judge your class. Is there real world learning? Is there mentoring? Is there rigor? So the entire transcript of the class shows up. What has been said by whom in the class shows up. And then you analyze it. Evidence not present, evidence not present. Specific points where it is present. At this time, the teacher said this, which is evidence of this. On all the parameters, it will give you feedback. And again, how long did it take? Few seconds. This is the power of AI, if it is used appropriately. Alright. This is the last slide. I'm going to end with reflection. I want you all to analyze aspects of this session, what we just did right now. Curriculum, pedagogy, assessment for today. Was the content today relevant and useful? Why or why not? Was the session today motivating? Why or why not? Was I able to understand if my goals of the session were met? How and how not? And what could I have done better as a trainer? These I will collect from you, because I want real feedback from you all. So please write this on a piece of paper that is separate and tell it to give it to me.
I'm giving separate now.
This is called an exit ticket, what I'm just doing right now. An exit ticket is an assessment that you have to hand over to me before you exit the room. Only then can you exit the room. So please answer these questions on the screen. Finishing, I'm open for questions for the next 5-10 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, please ask. Start.
Ma'am, don't you think so that AI is playing our thought process? Like earlier, suppose we have to write a chapter or any books. Usually we are taking the 1 year, 2 years, we are collecting the discuss material, and out of that we are scrapping the this much. But with the help of the AI, just we are completing within a 1 hour or 2 hours.
Right.
So by that way, can you?
So I think the question again is going back to first principles. Right, so the question was about AI. That do you think that AI will make us dumber? That is sort of the question, right? Like our thought process is becoming hampered. Now given that AI is here, AI hai, aa gaya hai. Can we do anything about it? Do we have a time machine to reverse it? It's here in the world. Given that AI is going to be present in the world from now on, what should be the right thought process for humans? Maybe some skills that we thought were important in the past are not relevant any longer. When cars first came, there was a big protest by horse carriage drivers because their jobs are gone. But what happened is, the best drivers of cars happened to be the horse carriage drivers because they knew all the streets, they knew the city inside out. So they only had to upskill. They had to change skill from riding a horse to riding a car. But their prior knowledge of the city was still very useful. So we need to figure out that when jobs are changing, and it's not if this should happen or not, it's happened. This is done. Now what do we do? Now how do we use our skills and our knowledge in a way that it is usable in the future? And perhaps build skills that we will need in the future. So either we can put our head in the sand and say, nahin, I'm not going to use AI, or we use it for what it's worth. It saves so much time and so much effort. The way that I use it when I do research, I'll make my own framework. I'll think about it myself. And I will use ChatGPT to fill in any gaps. That's how I use ChatGPT all the time. Right? Any more questions?
Sir, Jain sir said that in
So, as you said that the teachers are trained by AI and not by peers. But then how are we looking at the AI being correct? Is there any...
We have to make it rigorous with lots of testing.
Right.
It has to be tested, it has to be screened constantly. So for every 10 times the AI gives you a response, one human screen should be there to make sure that it's giving the right response. We cannot trust AI completely. It's not 100% correct. But then again, neither are we. If you're comparing benchmarking to us, it's better than us. Already. Already it's better than us. But we need to make sure it's on the right path. So we have to constantly screen with humans at regular intervals before we deploy this and say, "Ye to perfect hai system." This is the skill. This is the thing where we play with technology, but we have a human there. And also to your point, now if an AI is teaching something in a classroom, what should the partnership look like between an AI and a teacher? What should that look like? Let us look at what is AI good at and what is a human good at. AI is good at content delivery. Okay? One second, I use this mic. AI is good at content delivery. What are humans good at? Motivation, social emotional learning, mentoring, role modeling, pushing children, facilitating classrooms, creating structures. If we do this partnership where we focus on what makes us human and focus on that and let the AI do the hard, dirty, boring work of content delivery. Can we create a partnership like that? We have to analyze it, look for the pros and cons. It's not something that I'm saying we should do. Let's start thinking about it. What should be the right model of interaction between teachers and AI to make the students have a high quality education? Because that is our goal, right?
So you have a software like ChatGPT for your particular...
Absolutely, yeah. All of these are based on ChatGPT. Yes.
Jain sir said that the number of students in slum areas, admissions in your school, so how can they manage of that student?
I will welcome all of you to come see the school and see for yourself how they manage.
Then
When they first joined the school in grade 5, they didn't know a word of English. They knew the name. My name is, that's all they knew. Yeah, okay. So that's all they knew. They knew how to say the name in English in grade 5. And they've come from English medium schools. Still, this is all they knew, right? In grade 9, we had a unit in social studies that was called "How Have Atrocities Across History Led to the Development of Human Rights?" That's the name of the unit in history that we were discussing in grade 9. And the children were having a debate. These are the same kids in 4 years having a debate on, are atrocities across history, have they been caused by a system or by a single individual? That is the debate ka topic. And they were having discussions like, if Hitler wasn't around, would World War II still have happened? This is the kind of thinking these kids have done in 4 years. This is the power of high rigor, high quality curricula that does not dumb down the child and say the child can't do it. If we think the child can't do it, it's our bias. If we want them to do it, let them do it, but scaffold it. Right? So it's doable.
How your family can manage? The students are reading in schools.
Yes.
There's a family in the slum area.
Yes.
How can they help their students to in the academic structure?
So we don't ask, because we understand these students when they go home, they have to take care of their families, they have to cook, clean, take care of their siblings. They do not have time to study. So we do not ask them to do any homework in school. Very important, because we realize that it's extra burden for these children. But what we do instead is we make the school day longer. And within the school, we have something very interesting. It's a great question. We have something called flex time. So what that means is that twice a week for 90 minutes each, we have internal tuitions in our school. So we have a big hall, like how you have here, and all the teachers sit around on desks, and the kids in the middle, and the teachers pull up kids that need special help to fill gaps in their learning. And then for those 90 minutes, they're giving them special tuitions within school. This is how we can do away with tuitions. Because the kind of stuff that we're learning, a tuition teacher can never teach. So our kids don't have to go to tuition because they can't go to tuitions. It makes the whole tuition industry really dead.
Is there any fees for the students?
There's a fee. There's a fee. Most IGCSE schools would charge 2 lakh, 3 lakh a year. Ours are 20,000 a year. So it's a fee, and it's there thoda pinch ke liye, so that the parents are motivated to send their kids to school. But it's very, very affordable.
What about the funding for the school?
So the funding comes from the family philanthropy. But the point being that this is a scalable model. It's you come to the school, I'll show you how we scale it. Yes.
How do you visualize Sikha Institute of Education in near future? And
I mean,
how can we?
my dream is to use it
One more.
to one day change the system, but I need help. I can't do it alone.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need partners, we need collaborators, we need people, we need to motivate people on this journey.
It's a wonderful model,
Yeah.
as we can see. How can we expect it to reach to the grassroots level throughout India? Is it possible? That
You tell me.
Yes,
You all have worked in the grassroots. I have not worked in the grassroots. Come and tell me what I should do. What do you think I should do? How can we do this together? You tell me, what do you think in a school the parents' role should be? One more question for your reflection journey. Depending on what you want from your parent, you can engage them in that way. Parents are not a uniform body. Every parent is different. India is the most diverse country in the world, right? Like, there are parents from all over, and they have different skills, different strengths, and different weaknesses. What role do you envision for parents in your school, and define that and work towards it? There's no one answer for this.
Madam,
please, last question. Okay.
yeah, we want to know about the innovations that you have made in school for assessment. Some case studies that you have dealt with for creating innovative assessments.
So the first thing I said is portfolio based. Every child has their own website.
Any practical example that you have done
So,
and there is some outcome?
like for example, the unit that I was talking about for English, where they act like an advertiser. They are doing a lot of creation of artifacts in that unit. They make a client brief. They make a storyboard. They do a kind of report. They make a presentation. There's 4 or 5 artifacts. The kids post those artifacts onto their portfolio, and the AI tool will analyze skills based on that.
So there is no.
But that is for transfer.
Okay.
Meanwhile, there's the assessments for mastery, which is your normal written exams. But the difference being, the kids have to get 100% in that exam. For check for understanding, there are multiple ways you can do. You can do exit tickets that I'm doing right now. Every class ke baad, ask one question that explains to the child and the teacher, have they understood this? Check for understanding.
So there is some rating scale, like you used to rate, like he's doing excellent or medium or.
You rate it based on the child's prior performance and not against it. We don't do competition between 2 kids. We do competition between your past and your present. Have you become better? Have you grown better? If not, we'll push you. Very rigorous. Very, very rigorous. But you have to compete with yourself.
You used to check the activities also that he has created some arts or something.
Which they post on their portfolio.
Okay, thank you.
ओके किसी और का फीडबैक रह गया हो तो दे दीजिए, अदरवाइज सारे सबमिट हो गए. थैंक्स अ लॉट करिश्मा. डेफिनेटली आमतौर पे हम सोचते हैं जिस तरह से लेक्चर सेशन होता है तो ये तो लेक्चर सेशन नहीं था, ये आप लोगों से काफ़ी इसमें काम करवाया गया है. और मेरे माइंड में जो पिक्चर था, जैसे मैं 1-2 मिनट में ब्रीफ करता हूँ सारा. दिल्ली में करिश्मा से मेरी मुलाकात हुई थी. जब ये NCERT में आई तो एक लंबी चौड़ी ऑडी गाड़ी से जब आई तो मैंने सोचा इतना पैसे वाला बंदा यहाँ कर क्या रहा है. ये मेरे माइंड में क्वेश्चन था कि 1.5-2 करोड़ की गाड़ी में कोई यदि आ रहा है. बॉम्बे में रहता, दिल्ली में गाड़ी आ रही है. राइट तो डेफिनेटली कि कहीं ना कहीं एक वो डिवोशन है सोसाइटी के लिए, कुछ कमिटमेंट्स हैं और कुछ हटकर, वो हम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में कहते हैं कि जिसके भीतर कुछ हटकर करने की चाहत होती है, तो वही जो ओवरऑल जो मोटिवेशन की हम बात कर रहे हैं, जब हम हटकर करना सोचते हैं, डिफरेंटली सोचते हैं, आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स सोचते हैं। और मैं अभी जब एयरपोर्ट से मैडम के साथ आ रहा तो यही बात कर रहा था कि जब तक हम कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर नहीं निकलेंगे, जब तक हम डिस्कम्फर्ट क्रिएट नहीं करेंगे, जो फर्स्ट डे मैंने आपसे बात की थी, तब तक हम नया कुछ कर नहीं सकते हैं। तो करिश्मा जी के भीतर जहाँ हमने एक एजुकेशन फिलोसोफर को देखा, वहीं हमने एक एजुकेशन के मतलब क्या कहना चाहिए उसे, एजुकेटर को भी हमने देखा, एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर को भी देखा और एक एंटरप्रेन्योर को भी देखा, राइट। तो कैसे हाई क्वालिटी एजुकेशन को हम स्केलेबल कर सकते हैं। तो सी इज़ इन्वाइटिंग यू कि आप बताएं कि दिस इज़, ये तो हमारा मॉडल है, अब हम इस मॉडल को मासेज में कैसे ले जा सकते हैं। तो सिंपली आप गूगल सर्च करेंगे सिखा एकेडमी, तो आपको सारा डिटेल जो है उसमें कॉन्टेक्ट डिटेल सारा मिल जाएगा, तो आप मेल कर सकते हैं इन्हें, तो वो सारी चीज़ हो जाएंगे। तो पुनः एक बार आपने टाइम निकाला हमारे लिए, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा अपने जॉइंट डायरेक्टर सर को। मैंने जस्ट थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ दिया था करिश्मा जी के बारे में, तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, हमें सोसाइटी में जो इनोवेशंस हो रहे हैं, जो अलग हटके चीज़ें हो रही हैं, उन्हें जानना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो एक्सटेंशन लेक्चर प्रोग्राम्स हम करते हैं हमारी फैकल्टी के लिए, उसका पर्पस ही हमारा ये होता है कि हम एमिनेंट एजुकेशनिस्ट को बुलाएं और वो जो डिफरेंटली कर रहे हैं उनसे हम जानें, समझें और सीखें। तो जॉइंट डायरेक्टर सर ने हमारे अनुमति दी और ये पूरा प्रोग्राम विद इन ए वीक शेड्यूल हमारा हो गया। तो मैं अपने जॉइंट डायरेक्टर सर को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा इस प्रोग्राम के लिए। और स्पेशली जो उड़ीसा के हमारे टीचर आए, एक कोइंसिडेंट बना हमारा कि हमने एक ऐसा डेट शेड्यूल किया कि हमारे पास इतने सारे टीचर आ रहे हैं, तो उन्हें भी वो बेनिफिट होना चाहिए। और स्पेशली थैंक्स टू ऑल माय फैकल्टी मेंबर्स कि जिन्होंने राइट फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग, मतलब सुबह से ये जो हमारा प्रोग्राम शुरू हुआ, विजिट का, लैब विजिट का, डिस्कशन का, उसमें सारे लोगों ने हमें सपोर्ट किया और सारी फैकल्टी मेरी इस प्रोग्राम में मौजूद है। तो तहे दिल से आप लोगों को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और इस प्रोग्राम को ऑर्गेनाइज़ करने में जो हमारी टीम ने काम किया, वो पूरी टीम को मैं अपनी तरफ से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ। और इसी के साथ ये प्रोग्राम हम यहीं पे समाप्त करते हैं। मेरे सारे रेगुलर फैकल्टी मेंबर से रिक्वेस्ट है कि 2G में ही मैडम के साथ चाय पे आपसे चर्चा हमने कर ली है, तो आप लोग 2G में चले जाइएगा, बाकी सारे लोग बाहर आपके लिए स्नैक्स और टी है, उसे एंजॉय करिएगा। एंड वंस अगेन थैंक्स टू ऑल।